with that in it to rename
so if you
every single IDR that you've shipped.
repository, you'll see there are packages called IDR XYZ.
Yeah.
They're all like that.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. References. Yes, Oracle Solaris and Aaron packaging guides. The really good one is that document here, which is that is the Bible of packaging. It goes through all the details I've gone through, plus a little bit extra. And if you really are interested in packaging, read it. Yeah? £10 this copy.
Signed.
Signed by somebody.
You can sign it if you want, yeah.
Okay. Any questions about the presentation?
Question about the overlay option, configuration files, but I guess with the packaging system that if I write my own packaging system which overrides one of your files, the packaging says stop and say you can't do that.
Correct. Yeah, it has to have, again, it has to be in the manifest. If the original packaging manifest doesn't have the overlay option,
and the only way that can be altered in the sense that, Oracle says we'll give you permission to do it, but other than that, there's no way it can be done by the packaging system. Yes.
No. So what we'd have to do is republish the package, put the overlay in there. Alternatively, what you could do, and this is you could decide, actually, I've got my own internal repository, is you could take that package, PKG receive it, edit the delete or add in a line, and republish it to your own support people. If you do that, the signature that's associated with that package will be deleted, because that signature is no longer an Oracle package. That's one.
I do it at the moment, but I just do it by just copying the executable.
Yeah.
For send out. But just saying, but in reality, when doing packaging, then it wouldn't be possible.
Right. So this is. Okay. So if we have a good wind, so what I've got here is a system which is running an IDR. So a system that's running a system IDR. Sorry about that. It's running IDR 482, version 2, and the I tells me it's installed. Okay? So we had a look at the contents of that. Where's that? IDR 482. We'll see it's got a lot of stuff. Yeah, line. You see it's got a description. It's an IDR built for Solaris 11.1 SRU5. A list of bug IDs that are associated with it, a license action. Didn't tell you about license action because I didn't think it was really interesting, because I wasn't interested. We see that it's got the corporate dependency there. So this one actually delivers system kernel platform, and we see it's for SRU 5, and we see the IDR numbers there. So what we want to do is actually update that to the soon to becoming SRU 7. Well, I can't update this to SRU 7 directly, simply because I've got a constraint here. So what I've done on this system is PKG Publisher. I've made another version here. You'll see I've got a local thing, IDR 482 at 3. If we look at the contents of that, contents minus IDR 482 at 3. Hopefully this will work. And what this is doing is going to have a look and seeing what's here. So this tells us, like I said in the slide, so we have an IDR 482 at 3. So we're running on the system 482 at 2. Description, terminal package for IDR 482, it's the last one that ever we produced for it. I've renamed it, and it's renamed to the OSC Corporation, the thing that constrains my kernel, to SRU 7. So if I do a PKG list entire, I'm just going to see what entire versions I have. So I'm just going to see what versions of entire do I have available. Lots. Okay, we should see. Alright. There's version 7 of the entire incorporation. So what I'm going to do is just do a PKG update. And this will be doing is going along, running what it thinks it should be doing, going to find out what packages are installed, how to update them. This machine I'm running on is in Prague. The server I'm pulling the packages from is in the US. And we're doing it over Wi-Fi from London.
It's asking for trouble.
So we'll leave that running in the background. Okay? So we'll look at that later. Okay. So, so one thing the slides didn't tell you about, actually, there should have been a slide, there's a release note facility. Strange. So, packaging, as I said earlier, packaging delivers a software. And when you install that software, you might have to perform some sort of action once that software is installed. Despite the fact we've got ISMF actuators and all this other stuff, you might have to say, I've got some optional tuning that you need to do. So you need to change some driver stuff. So that's a release note type of piece of information. So you might have downloaded this package, got it to site, you haven't actually connected to the internet, so you don't know how to read the release note. So you actually can now integrate release notes into the packages. Okay? So when you come to install a package, it'll tell you if there's a release note associated with it. You can read the release note. You also, when you come to want to look at a package, you can say, is there a release note associated with it? If there is, let's read it. So I thought I'd put that in the slides, obviously. I haven't. So let's see if I've got an example. Sorry. Okay. Where am I? Where is scripts. So another interesting thing is, whilst you're playing around with packages, you're interested in developing them, we have a thing called user images. You create a user image, and user images are brilliant for testing packages. So you can create a user image, PKG, image create, path to your user image, that creates a user image. I've set the repository to get the information from, so I've said with this image that's located there, the publisher is this one that's there. It's obviously called Peak Repo because that's the best repo in the world. And let's bring that up a bit more. So then if we go to the image that I've just created, image here, doesn't have any software in it. Okay, PKG list. There's nothing there. Okay? So if I say what can I install? A bunch of stuff. This is just me playing around with packaging. So let's have a look at this require any. Actually no, we're doing release notes, weren't we? So let's have a look at this PKG. PKG contents, what's RM? Cut paste isn't working. Okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff here. Okay, so we have fMRI value, package name, description, hello, greeting, release note test. Delivers a directory, delivers some stuff. We have a file, so it delivers this file with its hash. It's got a path of greeting rel3. It's got a must display true. That's associated with this release note feature, which is here. And what this says is when this package is installed, display, as must display is true, this file here. So if I install this file, it will display the contents of this file on installation, which is my release note.
Why are you installing /tmp?
Because I'm lazy, it's easy for me to install.
Oh, okay. I mean,
there's no other reason for it.
You said earlier that you shouldn't be installing directories basically that are supplied by the OS. So what would actually happen if you didn't have the line installing temp?
It would just use the temp there. So if temp
if it was
there, it would just use it. That's why you don't want to give it in action. It's just
yeah.
me doing laziness. So for example, because I'm using a user image, temp isn't there. So if I do an ls, there's no temp there.
Quite right. Yeah.
So if I do pkg install, one now it should do, you notice because I'm using user image, I'm actually doing pretty fast here. So what this has done is install release note 1 by arbitrary name it. It said packages to install 1, displayed the release notes there, which I think is pretty cool. It tells me I'm going to run foo bar to complete the install, whatever. Completed it, installed it, gone through. So that's the facility to allow for release notes. So once something's installed, you might want to say, okay, actually want to look at that release note again. And you've installed, you've walked away, you've forgotten your screen. So we can use the pkg history command, -n, to see the release note. So, pkg history, if you ever have any problems with your packaging software, pkg history is your friend. It tells you exactly what has happened on your system through its life cycle, because we keep an audit trail of all the pkg commands that have made changes to your system. So, in this particular case, there's an option there, -n, display release note, -n1 for the last operation. I just opened stone. My last operation was install that package, obviously, and then it just displays the release note. Okay. If you want to see whether an action had a release note associated with it, you look at the pkg history. So I've got pkg history here, pkg history -l -t. Take that timestamp, which is 2013-05. 15T 19:51:22. Okay. So that tells us what it did. We should see, okay, there's a release note associated with that. So I know that in order to see that release note, I do the pkg history -n. I could do -t, that timestamp. It shows me the release note associated with that. So we haven't incorporated that yet into the SIUs for Solaris 11, but we are going to be doing that soon. We just need to work out the life cycle of the release notes. It will be included in the SIUs going at some point in the IDRs at some point in the future. So that's just an interesting one. I thought it should have been in the slides, so it wasn't there.
And did that display multiple release notes? You looked at the text. It looked as though it had 3 sets of versions.
I haven't got time to go into that, but what you could do is the way you structure packages. You could say, on the first install, I want to look at this particular release note. When I install a later version, I only want to look at the later version of the release note associated with that package. So you can do a life cycle of release notes effectively. It's quite complicated to understand.
Yeah, but that makes sense, because I always hate it when looking at when they release another patches. There's a whole lot of release notes at the bottom, and so things you ought to look at and stuff like that. So, now, were those release notes for a previous update,
yeah, exactly.
or was it what the latest one? To try and work out what was the latest one. So
so we can do a hierarchical management.
Yes.
So, okay, if you've installed this for the first time, you want to see all the release notes, or if you're just doing the incremental update to this release note, you just want to see that bit.
Yeah. Cool.
And that's where we're. That's where that version number there. So 0 is your base version, then you increment that relative to the package version. That's all that.
£20 now.
Okay, so there's that one. Image pkg install rn. Okay, pkg list. What else have we got here? Require any. So let's have a look at the require any. pkg contents -nr. Require any. So this is a package that, when you install it, has a require, delivers a file, and it has a require any dependency on file name rec1, or sorry, package rec1 or package rec2. So, if we just say pkg install require any. So user images are brilliant for testing this stuff. Actually, you just see it go really fast. So what we see, it's gone through. I said require any, install that package. It's actually installed 2 packages, itself and the package it depended on. Didn't need to require both of them. So if we see what's installed, we see we've got the first one that we mentioned, so it satisfied that, and that. So